Ready for this?
Oh, that sounded so nice in the ears.
What are you doing? This is your debut and you're stuffing your face?
No, it's not chili. It's not chili.
Chili's got maple syrup and gummy bears under his desk.
Yellow snack today. Speaking, I'm excited to talk about maple syrup today.
All right, this would be a topic.
Love it.
Yeah,
Chili, welcome. Hey, you're good. I think, now we've crossed the 7-minute mark. I think we're officially ready to kick this pod off. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the NIL Show. I am Adam Cook, joined here, of course, by Stephen Farrig and Sean Ellenby. Today, we are chatting with Sean Childers, as he's affectionately known across Campus Inc., Chili, to eliminate any confusion from the multiple Seans. Chili, welcome. Finally got you sorted up. Echo cancellation removed. Excited to talk to you today, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I would consider myself an early listener of the pod, even before I got to know you guys, when I was trying to study up on the NIL merch industry, you could call it. I watched a few episodes, like late night YouTube, looking stuff up, and I was like, who are these guys? You know, it's kind of funny to see. Yeah, I never would have thought I would be on it.
Is this our first long time listener, first time caller?
Wow.
I think it might be.
I think he was our first listener and first caller. Okay, well, let's give a little bit of background here. So Sean Childers, graphic designer at Campus Inc. We'll let you guess his age. Sean, not Sean Ellenby, to be, Sean Ellenby's, that's why we had to rename you, but that's okay. I get a cold email on a very snowy day in, we'll call it 3 months ago, from Sean Childers that was beautifully and eloquently written, talking about everything you've done in the NIL space and asking, if we could meet. And what did I say, Sean?
Your response was like, what do you want? Like, I feel like I prefaced myself so well, but there was just no takeaway. Steven was like, this is great and all, but what the hell? Like, why'd you send it to me? And I was like,
Steven's
I
a
want to
sucker
for
for cold emails. He's a sucker for cold emails, for as well-written cold emails. So you spoke right to his
flat
heart.
Circle.
I know.
This feels like this is the exact same conversation that happened with Cuban. The cold email, didn't make the ask. It is the exact same scenario.
That's funny. I should say I probably spent like 1, maybe 2 weeks writing and revising that thing, and I watched a good load of YouTube videos on how to write a cold email. I should take all the credit. But yeah,
Did
a
your
lot
research,
of thought went
man.
into that. Yeah, it worked.
So what led you to write that email? What was the impetus?
A combination of things. I had my eye on Campus Inc. Like ever since the Cuban announcement, I was like, these guys are some serious players in the space. And then Limelight was I wouldn't say it wasn't doing too well, but I was ready for the next step, man. I was ready to make a jump, and I felt like my portfolio with Limelight was in a really good place. Timing felt right.
Tell us about LimeWire. You weren't even bored when LimeWire was around. I'm just kidding. Tell us about Limelight Apparel. Tell us a little about it, because you got a cool background.
Yeah, dude. So, it really starts back in would have been 2021 summer. Anthony Richardson, longtime, really, really close friend, comes to me. And this is before, this is not NIL as we know it now. This is not me saying, oh, let's capitalize here. You got a big market. This is Anthony saying, they're letting us make shirts now. Can we make shirts? And I'm like, okay. And I designed a shirt for the FAU game, our first game that season. This was 2021. We sold a few. Friends and family brought it. It was pretty cool. Then Anthony starts going off. He his second game into that season, and the third game that was coming up was Alabama. But that second game, we played USF. He jumped over a dude. We won by 40. So I put that picture of him jumping over a dude on a shirt, and he was jumping over an elephant. Everything was kind of aligning. And then we sold I don't want to misquote. It was 800 or 900 shirts week 3. And I was just suddenly, it was a combination of what did I get myself into? And also like, what is the potential here? You know, cause this is just one guy. This is one guy on 1 week selling this many shirts. Where can I take this? You know? So Anthony got behind the idea. He kind of, his season, you know, Florida Gators aren't doing too hot right now. He kind of got hurt. Coach got fired. I shifted focus and started to scale the idea. Basically got to learn a lot of different sides of print on demand, you know, fulfillment, like stuff. Always, my focus was always design, just making a really good product. And I kind of had to be resourceful with these other elements to get that product out. But yeah, and then it just kind of ran through until the next fall came, 2022. Things, you know, I was still on my own for the most part. And then I reached out.
So you have, it's kind of cool that, you know, you had some awesome athletes. Designs
Sean,
were really cool.
When you emailed me, you were 20 years old, by the way. Okay. This is like 3 months ago. Sean is a young fellow. I don't know. Is this an HR problem? Tell the world you're a young individual. Adam, sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, that's what I was about to say is, you know, you've done these really cool things. You've activated some pretty awesome products for these athletes at, you know, a young age, but that wasn't your start. You know, you're kind of an entrepreneurial spirit. Give us a little bit of your background of how you kind of, I don't know, learned how to navigate just taking advantage of opportunities and just kind of that entrepreneurial part of who you are.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it all comes from design first. And I would say the mindset is design product first and then monetization. Like I don't really kind of focus on an opportunity to make money as much as I do an opportunity to where like people really want something here. People really would love, you know, this is a great place to bring a great product to. So like in high school, we had this like little club, like it was called Apple Time. It was a joke. It was literally a joke between me and my friends. We ended up doing like $40,000 in revenue from shirts that I was making in like a side bedroom, just heat pressing stuff. And kind of once I did that, like I just got a feel for, I don't know, man, like if you make something people want, you can make money. It's that simple. So taking that idea and running with it in different directions. When I was down at FAU for my freshman semester of college, this was 2020 COVID year. So I was kind of locked in my dorm. And I had a sewing machine. I bought a sewing machine, wanted to, you know, kind of learn how to sew just to pick it up. And then I made this like sweater out of a blanket, went viral on TikTok. SZA DM'd me, and stuff just snowballed, dude. And you know, so pretty much every experience I've had with stuff like this, it would be like sells a bunch. And then I got to figure out, okay, how do we actually get this product to this many people? Yeah. I've never done this before. And that's always the frustrating part. But that first, you know, day with the Shopify orders coming in it carries the excitement through and makes it all worth it.
What were some of those lessons that here you are at 20 years old, kind of running your own NIL business.
He's 21 now.
He's 21 now, but at the time he was 20. You know, you're running Limelight. What were some of the biggest lessons you took from that experience?
I mean, just that you got to keep learning. Like everything, I started doing it in college, and I feel like I was in a place where a lot of people were saying, you know, go to class, do like the typical college stuff. I was down in college, not getting a whole lot of my classes. But when I realized, you know, there's so many other places to learn and places to learn how to do things that make me money. Like I just followed like it was that simple. Like I just looked up on YouTube, you know, literally spent my time. I remember having a conversation with one of my professors where he was kind of like, you know, you're a smart kid. Why are you half-assing here? And I'm like, dude, I don't have time. Like I'm making money. I'm making too much money. I don't have time to do this homework. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. And that was kind of around the time where I was just realizing like, you know, maybe it's not a path for me. I'm kind of getting a feel for this other stuff. It was hard. It was hard to just say no to college because I didn't know I was going to be working for Campus Inc. in 2 years, but I'm very happy I did. And I think that's just throwing myself into that void and forcing myself to learn what I need to learn every day. You know, that's still the same case. Even here at Campus Inc., I'm looking up YouTube tutorials, trying to figure stuff out. And that's just always how it's going to be.
Steven, what do you remember from your first conversation on the phone with Chili? What was your impression?
Well, yeah. So I sometimes get some emails. So I just fire back. I was like, what, this is great. I think your site is super cool. Like, what do you want? You know? And he's like, I think you responded like, I want to work for y'all.
Well, I didn't want, you like got the impression I wanted you to like acquire my company. And then I just, for a second thought about like the due diligence of Limelight Apparel. And I just was like, no chance. Let's just.
He goes, oh, this is funny. Thank you for your email. I didn't mean to imply that I'm interested in a merger of other businesses. I'm interested in becoming a part of your team. And I'm like, oh, cool. And I think, Adam, did I send you his, because I talked to Adam right away. I think I'll let Adam go off it and then I'll go.
Yeah, I mean that was it. Like so we have an email tool and we can share emails and stuff. So I get tagged in this email from this kid Sean Childers, like Limelight Apparel. What the heck? And so you're trying to do your own thing, and so I'm reading through it and I'm like, we are not in a position to acquire another. Like, what is going on right now? But then reading through it, like, kind of similar thing, looking at your site, it was like, wow, he's got some really cool designs here. He's obviously an incredibly talented artist and working with some really cool athletes. And so most of the time when I get these emails from Steven, I just ask him right back, what do you think?
I was just going to say, I know for me, the first time I talked with you on Zoom, Chili, I loved the conversation. it was hard to believe you were 20 years old at that time. I felt like I was talking to somebody that had years and years of experience. I was blown away. And in fact, I'm still on the 40-minute Zoom, and our time ran out and I messaged you. I was like, I want to keep talking more. Can we hop back on, start it up again? Yeah. And so we hopped back in and we riffed for another 30 minutes. And I was just like, I'm so impressed with his he has so many ideas and thoughts. And we said the same thing when Danielle joined. It is so rare to find somebody that has experience in NIL because it's so new. And here was somebody that not only had experience in it, but really had touched every part on a smaller scale of what we're doing. And I was like, this is so incredibly valuable what he could bring to the team. So I just remember being totally struck by that and just really, really impressed. And you've been with us for a while now and you haven't disappointed. Like, you're just a machine, man. You're crushing it.
Go ahead, Adam. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I usually am pretty hyper protective of like our NIL team. We have a really good team that we have a high level of trust. And so, whenever we talk about making hires and bringing new people into that fold, I'm really protective of that. And so I usually go into interviews like, I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm going to be honest and direct and real. And I remember telling you that in the interview, like, hey man, I'm just going to be straight up with you about what my concerns are, the issues that I have. And if, you can give me the answers and we can chat through and get to a good place, great. But I'd rather do that than, softball you all the way through and then be frustrated. And I remember I gave you a design project. I was like, look, man, I need these by, I think, let's just say we were talking on a Monday and I said, I need them by Wednesday. I needed 3 different, products with different aesthetics and all this kind of stuff. And that was kind of my barometer. I was like, look, this is what I need. I need it by Wednesday. This is your chance to show me what you can do. So take it seriously, please. And you're like, oh, I'll get them to you by tomorrow morning. And I was like, skirt? Like, okay. And then, you sent some stuff back and they were really, I messaged Steven right away. I was like, this kid's the real deal. Like, this is legit.
So I think this is funny. Like, we work with college students all the time. Every single day we work with college students around the country, older than you, who are designing and putting stuff on apparel and all that. And so when I got that first email and then you're kind of telling me, I was like, okay, maybe we can pull something off here. Maybe you can do this. And then there were a couple things that stuck out that I thought was really interesting. And college students, young people listening to this, when you learn how to hustle at a young age, there's very few people that know the hustle. Right? I'm going to build something overnight. I'm going to put it online and I'm going to figure out I'm going to buy a sewing machine and learn to sew. I'm going to set up a tent outside the stadium and give out shirts. Right. And so, I was like, I sent to Adam and I was like, yeah, like could be a little young. And I'm like, no. Like he got the hustle. He knows how
He's
to
cut from your cloth.
And so, a little bit of like my business partner took me in, right? Twice my age. And he got me set up a tent between the two bars for me to give out my St. Patrick's Day shirts. And a lot of the stuff you were talking about, I was like, damn, if Jed gave me this opportunity, shit. This is our Omar from House of Highlights. I think I told you that. I was like, this is our Omar. Yeah. We found our Omar. We do have a 17-year-old running the Illini Store Instagram, maybe. That's a secret. But I was like, wait a second, look at this raw talent. And I think something that was interesting, you're like, look, when I'm on Photoshop, it's like I'm playing piano. And I'm like, that is a twisted way to talk about you being an artist, but I'm into it. Like, that's pretty cool. I was like, all right, cool. All right. And then you sent me your portfolio in a Notion. And I was like, does he know I'm obsessed with Notion? God, is that you? And then, so we figured it out, gave you a gig. And then your first week was in Las Vegas with us. Tell us about, I want to kind of get into what you're doing now and everything. Tell us about Vegas. What was that like? You told your mom, hey, I'm going to Vegas with this company. How did that go down?
Keep in mind, he turned 21 the week before.
I had to call you and ask. I was like, yo, when do you turn 21? He's like, next week. I was like, great.
This was after he was hired. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much like the onboarding
first real
call.
Job when you're going to Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, Vegas was awesome. Really, like, the show to me was the coolest part, because I think that was my first kind of peek into what the industry is like. Everything I had been doing up until this point was just kind of
not licensed, like said, right? It was just
YouTube. Yeah, it was unlicensed. It was me texting athletes, texting their moms. But when I go out there and we've got like a Nike booth next to us and we've got all this stuff, like it's the real deal, and on top of that, just incredible team. I felt so welcome, so comfortable. I was pretty nervous. It was my first time flying alone, I think, ever. a lot of new stuff.
Did your mom have to drop you off at the airport and walk you to the gate? Come on.
Adam called my mom for me and just kind of, because she was nervous, dude. Like she was.
I mean, that's fair. I asked you if I could
I don't
tell
know
this.
about this guy.
I asked you if I could tell this story, Sean. So, he calls me one day, and this is, remember, he has been working for the company for 2 weeks, maybe, 10 days. Yeah. And he calls me, he's like, hey man, sorry, maybe this is kind of weird, but like, would you mind calling my mom and just like introducing yourself? We're going to Vegas, awesome. New company. But here's the thing that like, so in another life, I used to run like international trips for college students. And so like having these conversations with parents around like, okay, here's what we're doing. Yes. We're taking your son or daughter to wherever, East Asia, but here's how, like, I can do that conversation in my sleep. That's no problem. And credit to your mom. She was very complimentary of you. She was like, I have 100% confidence in Sean and what he's doing and totally trust his judgment. But you're always going to be a mom. So yeah, I was chatting with Mrs. Childers on the trade show floor, letting her know what the plan was and what to expect. And so yeah, it was good stuff. A good welcome to campus.
It must have been entirely overwhelming for you too. Like we had our entire team out there, 25 people, and here you are like walking in the door. We walk into that house. And I remember the first time we were all kind of talking about, we're like, how tall? Like, we don't even know how tall he is. And I remember like the first time I see you and I like look up and I'm like, hello, Chili. You were like 6'4", right?
6'4".
I was expecting like 5'7". I don't know. You got an angle on your,
dude,
it's the camera.
It's the desktop. Yeah. Everybody. Yeah. I remember that was a thing people kept broughting up. But dude, that first night at the house, when I walked in, I had no idea how many people, like I think I heard a head count, for the trip, and like I browsed the itinerary, but I knew going to Vegas, like not to set expectations and just be along for the ride. And then all those faces when we opened the door, I was like, I was,
And then you hung
taking
out
it back
with
a bit.
you hung out with our CTO for the day. Neil.
Neil and I, that was fun.
Okay, before we get into it, why did you feel, because you were running essentially a competitor to Campus Inc., why couldn't you just keep doing that? I want to spend 1 or 2 minutes talking about like what roadblocks did you run into? Because there's people listening to this that run companies, merch companies, NIL, all that stuff. What halted you to say like, hey, I'm just gonna roll up into Campus Inc. or something like that? Because I think this is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there are obviously so many factors, but the biggest ones would probably be a combination of the biggest roadblocks I was hitting with Limelight being licensing and scaling via players. I've always been product focused. So like I was, every player had a collection of 10 to 15 shirts, and that was kind of what I was getting down. But when it came down to it, I just couldn't get players. And like when I really wanted to get the license, like I remember emailing Brandar, like I emailed every licensing Florida person I could, try, and I just didn't hear back. And I was just kind of at a point where I was like, these guys are doing it right. And also if you were looking at our two businesses at the time, like they it just felt natural to me. I can't really point to one thing that sort of tipped me off. Like I said, I had been writing that email for probably 2 weeks. The idea to write the email was probably sitting for 2 months. Like it was kind of in the back of my mind. And then I just reached a point where I was like, these guys are getting all these schools, they're getting all these players. Let's go be a part of it. Yeah.
I think it was when I was talking to you, when you started talking about the pain points, like customer service and shipping and having to, figure out how production worked. And you were talking about screen printing stuff and dealing with parents and all that stuff. Like there's a lot more that goes into running this company. We don't just put a logo on a shirt and ship it out, right? There's so much that happens. We say almost at Campus Inc., the shirt comes last. Everything else has to fall into place. And so when you were telling me on the phone, I was like, yep. But it was cool because you admitted, which I think is noble, that you're like, that's not what I'm good at. That's not what I want to do. I'm a designer. I want to focus on product and putting sick stuff out. So I thought that was really cool. All right, let's talk about. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Adam.
Speaking of putting sick stuff out, we actually just launched something today that is unreal. Steven's holding it up right now. For those of you that are just listening, we launched what we call the Big Maple drop. This is for Zach Edey, Canadian, nicknamed Big Maple. That t-shirt, if you're just listening, go to our Instagram, go to Purdue NIL Store, look at the drop, go to our website, go
You
buy
can
it
watch
from
on YouTube.
Yeah, go buy it from Zach Edey's locker room. It's ridiculous. Steven's gotten some crazy feedback from people in the printing industry about it, but walk us through that process. This was another moment where I was like, gosh, this kid is unreal. Walk us through that creative process for you.
This was also pretty early, I feel like. I don't remember whether or not it was before or after Vegas, but this, like when I was making this, no part of me was like, they're going to love this, or like, let's be different here. I remember distinctly, it was like the end of a day, like a Tuesday, and I was going to go to my parents' house to grab something later. And Sarah was like, I need something for Edey ASAP. And I was, just trying to, like, I was going through my Pinterest boards, like trying to come up with something kind of unique. Zach Edey, big player. And I just had this idea, like the Big Maple nickname. Let's use syrup. So I went to my mom's house and I got a piece of printer paper and I just kind of set it out, and I got like some Aunt Jemima or whatever was in the fridge. And I like tried it and I was like, it wasn't really working. The viscosity wasn't quite where it needed to be. I guess it was kind of just flowing all over the paper. So then I tried honey. And my mom was like, be careful, honey's expensive. I was like, okay, Mom. And, so I said, yeah, I remember the next day Watson was like, do you need to expense the honey you used? But yeah, I just, I did a few passes and like I took a picture of it, and then the next day I think I just brought it into Photoshop and did a bunch of manipulation to it to kind of get it print ready. But yeah, I mean, I love how much everybody loved it. I think it was pretty cool, but yeah, man, I mean, it was fun to do.
I mean, we in our printing industry, we love talking about like faux, like ways to like make something look different visually and like trick the eye with merch and stuff. I posted it in one of our groups, and I was like, never in a million years would we think we would want to get the syrup or maple syrup effect on a shirt. It looks so hyper realistic. And it's just because, like, I mean, you literally took pictures of it and photoshopped it on. I don't know if anyone's brain thinks, like, I would have never thought to do that. Yeah, I don't know.
There's not a syrup font that exists.
I looked, dude. I mean, yeah, that was like the first step. Was I kind of got the idea in mind? Okay, big maple, let's syrup. Like it, that part's the no brainer. But then when I was actually trying to figure out how to come up with a syrup themed design, like there's no font that can really make, unless it's like a weird bubbly sort of thing with some effects on it. I was like, let's just go get some syrup. Let's see what that looks like. Right. And ended up working really well.
And right after that, we're like, yo, we need a team shirt for Purdue. And he's like, yep, coming up. No problem. Right.
Yeah.
Love it. Talk about
what's special about that, Steven.
So what's interesting about this shirt is it's got every player on the team. Right. It feels like a 90s vintage shirt. It literally feels like, it feels like a 90s Lakers shirt, which is kind of sick. What's really interesting about it is the players we are able to take that, that money and split it up evenly with the players. So as we're selling these, whether it's in the bookstore or online, every single player on the team is going to be making money on that thing. So I thought that was pretty cool. Sean, what else?
Well, and just technically speaking on that shirt, and I am not technical when it comes to printing, but doesn't like when you're creating that design for it to print right, is it a bunch of dots? How does that work?
Sean, do you want to explain? Do you want to explain halftones?
Fill the people in. This is interesting stuff.
Is this the secret sauce?
This is one of the first things,
or maybe we can't share. I don't know.
Go ahead, Julie.
I remember this is one of the first kind of breakthroughs that Steven and I made. I think it was also my first week, where it was like the problem with the DTF printer was, when you're printing on black, and essentially if you have a black shirt and you're printing an image with black in it, the way we were doing it, because the printer just reads whatever picture information it's getting, it'll just print black on black. And you get this really weird kind of like almost waxy texture to where black cloth should be essentially. So, after some research, we kind of figured out the best way to do it was apply this halftone effect, which will take those loose gradients and stuff and turn them into dots that the printer can kind of pick up and actually lay down on a shirt. And then we, after doing that effect, we'll pull all the black out of the image. So you're basically just, instead of doing, a black shirt with gold and black, you're just printing black with like a dotted gradient, and then you're printing gold with a dotted gradient, and then the black you're getting in the image is all going to be cloth from the t-shirt. And
in our industry, getting a print that looks that good, right? Some things, there's some type of equipment that get it. Everyone around the shop has seen me just feeling it. I'm like, look, feel the shirt. Like, guys, do you feel the shirt? Like, look at his hair. Like, look at how sick that looks. Because we're able to do these on demand, and it doesn't feel crappy, right? And so I've been... anyone who's seen me around, I've been carrying this thing with me for the last week.
Yeah. And I mean, just to bring it back to like what we said before, at the end of the day, what we're doing on the NIL side in terms of advocating for the student athlete, industry leading payouts, working with the school to get licensed stuff. Like that Big Maple shirt is licensed, right? It's representing the school brand. It's representing our brand as Campus Inc., but it's also representing the brand of that individual as well. And so being able to put a product that has somebody's face or image or whatever in the hands of a fan and have them actually be excited about the product itself, not just what it looks like, but want to wear it feel good, be excited about like, man, this is really high quality. That's cool, man. Cause it's elevating all brands across the board and is really special and it's hard to do.
Chili, you started kind of your first week and then we cranked up the heat. It was just like, tell us about this ramp up, scaling, doing things, it's definitely maybe been a shock to you. When you talk about the art department at Campus Inc., it's this interweb, right? Tell us a little bit about that and what you've been busy doing, right? Because you've been thinking about things in a really positive and mature way, but you're definitely under the gun quite a bit. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of stepped into, I would say, an area that didn't really have a whole lot of direction or definition to it, when I came in, and that I expected. What I didn't expect, and I guess I didn't really expect anything, but what I didn't anticipate was there wasn't really going to be anyone to help me through that. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of just had to go figure it out. So,
I'm doing my best, man.
Figure it out, brother.
Remember week 1, me and Adam and I probably met like twice a day. And I was just me saying, dude, what do I I don't even remember what I could have asked you, probably everything under the sun. But yeah, dude, just trying to like find some organizational methods to a very, very reactive industry. When you think college sports, like it's hard to schedule out a game-winning shot. You can't really, go 2 weeks in advance and have a shirt ready of a moment that's going to happen in 2 weeks. So you got to really shift your mindset on a lot of stuff to just having all these different elements ready to pull from and be reactive and have stuff up overnight. And, thankfully I have an amazing team that helps, with that workload, kind of just like the mental workload of just organizing all of these ideas and campaigns and products and whatnot. Like, from my perspective, it's easy to just take a shirt and kind of make it look good. But the step before that is really kind of the difficult part. And the step after that, you got to be able to come up with a really, really strong idea. And then you got to build a campaign around it to make sure it sells, So seeing that through, kind of building my role into that process, it's been a lot of fun. I've loved it, but it has, it has been a lot. And like you said, it was a quick ramp up. I remember I went from like day 2 doing social templates to day 5 or 6 doing like, all right, we need 30 designs,
and that's like, we say, like, we try to do things at scale. Right. And so, it's cool. We can take a couple athletes and we can get really wild, but what people don't know is we have an entire arsenal of an art department. Right. And so we have offshore artists that are cartooning overnight. Right. And we're getting cartoons ready. We've got students that are helping us out, like Nolan and Carter at Nebraska. Nolan's incredible at Procreate, and then like we have each other, right? Who we all think we're artists. And then we have real artists, right? Like Chili. And there's so many levers that we're pulling on all at the same time, to be like, oop, Grace Berger, she's getting that. Boom, let's go. And it's almost like we're directing traffic all at the same time. But it's crazy to start to see like the whole spectrum of every artist at Campus Inc. And then how do you take something and replicate it, but still make it special? And I think that's what you've started to do and do a really good job at. Is we don't want to be some template company. We don't love that like template. And you've started to kind of curate for people like, okay, this is what we can do for 4 or 5 of them. I imagine a world in which, we're going to be able to show an athlete what 6 months of drops sort of could look like. So it's been really cool to see you building the infrastructure. Like Sean, week 3, 4 was like, I'm going to have all the account managers on a call so I can kind of show them this new workflow. And I was just like, holy cow, look at this Notion doc. It's beautiful. So it's been pretty impressive to watch it. But yeah, LMB.
Same thing on the production end too, right? Like Chili's been very active with Jordan.
Right. Because we need to make sure prints look good. So when we're prototyping and testing, he's like, okay, print that out. How does it look? How do the color values look? Oop, we need to tweak that a little bit. Okay, we like that for Purdue. All right, let's go to the next school. How's that going to look? And we work fast, that's for sure.
Well, and I think again, just kind of bringing it back to the NIL store and then the overarching pieces of Campus Inc. and what we do, the decorated apparel spaces, there's a low barrier of entry. But if you want things done well, it's a lot of really hard, really technical work. And, there's a lot of people in the space that, they run a store or they run a storefront, but they never touch anything. So they don't know what the quality is. They're selling something that they have no clue what their customer is going to get or how it's going to be represented, once it comes off the production line. And I appreciate every single day the technical aspect and expertise of what we're able to do, not just because we like doing it or we can, but because we care about the brands and the athletes that we're working with of like, this is important, this matters, we want it to be dope. And it's fun to watch, you guys nerd out on that and really kind of lean into the crazy stuff we can do on that end.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead, Sean.
No, go ahead. No,
I was going to say, something that, Adam, you do this every jersey you get, you're feeling it, you're pulling it for weight. We bring in our favorite apparel and we're trying to we obsess over the product. We obsess over the art. And when we do that, the rest, it's easy to sell, right? When we were in Las Vegas, we gave everyone a jersey and, our big friendly giant, a huge competitor of ours, goes, yeah, those jerseys are sick. And I'm like, nice. Right. And so that's what we want to continue doing, so that our bookstore partners are like, ooh, that Big Maple shirt. Yeah, we want that in our bookstores. Right. And that's what we have to continue to do. That's going to be the challenge as we scale. But what's really cool is, rooted in education. We've got such good, we're building this academy out, Chili's going to have an army. Sean's got an army on the social side. Chili's going to have an army of artists. So, LNB, what were you going to say?
Is Big Maple your favorite, or what's your favorite design?
Yeah,
so
what
far?
is your favorite?
That's hard. Honestly, one of the ones from yesterday, maybe the Liz Kitley one. Yeah. I don't know if Steven's seen that one yet, but
on a throne.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
Fire,
filth.
Yeah, just anytime. The Big Maple was cool too, just because reception is always a part of it for me. When designing, especially in an industry like this, I kind of feel like there's a difference between art and design. When I'm designing, there's an answer. There, like you just said, Steven, there is a product where the bookstore wants to buy these, and there's a scenario where they don't. You can't just kind of make whatever. Oh, it looks good to me, let's push it out. I'm kind of trying to find in my head that perfect design that's going to sell a lot to fans. It's going to make the athlete happy. That's going to be cleared by licensing, taking all those into consideration and then working backwards and trying to build something really cool. So when I hit on something like that, it's always a good boost of confidence, because that just kind of lets me know I've got a good feel for the market and stuff like that.
It's awesome.
All right. We got to talk about what we're doing in March. We got to talk about legacy collections, new store launches. Sean, NIL deal of the week.
I got to save that for the end.
Because he's got to go on Google.
I got to Google that first. Come on, you're going away my whole strategy.
The secret sauce here.
All right, I find something that's hot.
Yeah.
All right, Sean, start searching. Adam, keep talking. Go ahead.
I'll talk.
Go LNB.
So Steven, I need to correct you. You just said March. The month is merch. The month is merch here at NIL Store and Campus Inc.
It goes January, February, March, April.
Merch. That's exactly right. So if you follow any of our social media, if you follow any of our emails, put together a pretty cool Merch Madness campaign. Really where we've kind of revamped everything, our branding, our websites look different, the banners. And so we're really excited for people to go and check out that refresh. Understanding that here, this month of merch is the biggest month in college sports, right? College basketball, all eyes are on basketball this month. Almost every one of our schools has representation in NCAA tournament, conference tournaments, of course. And so eyes are going to be everywhere. And we know that this is a time where we need to be ramping up our support for athletes already more than we do. And so, yeah, we retouched on everything. There was a ton that went into it. You got to give credit to a lot of people who helped make it happen. Abby made some amazing graphics. Neil on the back end helped figure out how to make the website slide and different things like that. Kelsey with vision, Mike O'Neill doing his thing. So just a lot of different people that are involved in it. But yeah, Merch Madness. This is it.
That was like a pretty good
Adam.
SAG Award speech, Sean. That was like a. Love it. Got to touch on everybody.
If you ever win a Grammy, you're set.
Yeah.
Mostly because I'm talking about it and they did all the work. So
Sean, you can get.
I'm not taking credit.
If Sean wanted to get an Oscar, it would be best actor, best supporting role in a TikTok. Every time. Best supporting role in a TikTok. He's a great actor. He's throwing papers around. He's got the microwave thing.
The social campaign was choice this week.
You've got a face for TikTok.
The shower ideas were flowing.
Okay, a couple things on March Madness that's super cool. We're able to sell official NCAA March Madness apparel, which is rad. We've got some amazing partners that are able to help us do that. So we're talking Big Dance Shirt, official March Madness, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, National Championship. We're able to do like Big Ten tournament stuff, which is super cool. Adam, can you talk about that legacy collection, the what else outside of, just NIL?
Yeah. The really great thing about our partners is you earn trust, right? When you do things really well, they want you to do other things really well. And so another thing you'll see from us across our stores is the addition of new, updated, different products. So basketball focus, school focus, still plenty of opportunities to support players, demonstrate, how much you love them and want them to stick around and be rewarded in that. So lots of new stuff across our stores for sure on all products. But again, the Big Ten tournament happening here at the United Center in Chicago, just another really great opportunity, handling the brands really well. We're excited and grateful for the opportunity to print for the tournament, being in
Minneapolis and in the women's tournament.
Yeah. Being here in Chicago, here in the Midwest, obviously our hearts are close to the Big Ten. It's a great honor to be able to print for them. And they've got a really cool campaign coming out this year. So excited to see that stuff come to fruition across both the men's and the women's conference tournament.
We've got a couple stores launching. So Adam, we got...
Yeah, big week for us. Really grateful to put out 2 new stores this week. Penn State launched on Tuesday. Obviously, historic collegiate brand. Really grateful to be working with them. They are very involved, very excited about what's to come. They were, to Mike's dismay, they are the school that has the most sports represented, which is really neat. They've got fencing.
How many sports?
They've got gymnastics. I think it was like 13 sports or something like that. I may be going crazy. You'll have to check me.
In men's
on the
and
site,
women's, it's 26. Holy cow.
Yeah. So really cool to see historic brand. And then today, like 2 hours ago, Sean, we launched Michigan State as well. So really exciting stuff, expanding our reach in the Big Ten and plenty more to come.
That's pretty good timing. I put the heat on the team definitely to say, hey, if they're going to be in the tournament, get their stores up. And we've got a couple more that are going to be launching in the next week or two. So the team's been grinding. I mean, this is store number 13, 14? 14, which is absolutely incredible. So, there's a bunch of awesome stuff going on. We're super grateful for it. If you are enjoying listening to this, please let us know. Give us a like, follow, subscribe. We get a lot of cool feedback. Maybe you want to work for us.
Send a cold email with a Notion board.
Send a cold email with a Notion board and your portfolio. Just like ask for the job blatantly. Don't beat around the bush. Don't falter the same thing that me and Chili did when emailing our idols. I'm just kidding, Chili. But it's going to be fun March. Chili's coming to Chicago. We're going to be doing a bunch of cool stuff. So happy Merch Madness, y'all.
Sean, we got a deal of the week yet?
Dilly of the week.
Oh man,
Zach Edey plays hockey. Zach Edey
Chili,
plays
do you have
baseball.
one?
A deal of the week? Not this week. I wish I did.
We'll have to double up next week. I'm sure there will be plenty going in the tournament baseball season hyping up. So we'll double up next week.
I've got one. I've got something cool in the NIL space. Talon. Did I pronounce his name correctly?
Yep. Talon Letzi.
Yep.
Who has played football at Illinois.
He's been helping him out. Guest on this podcast.
Guest on the podcast. Now working at Market Price with Jason and the team. That's my cool NIL thing of the week, because we've kind of seen him as a student athlete. Now going into the NIL industry, I'm sure there will be many more of those stories happening. So congrats to the Market Price team, Talon, for doing that. There you go.
Well, as always, grateful for the conversation. It was awesome to have you on here, Chili. This is Adam Cook, Stephen Farrig, and Sean Ellenby signing off for another episode of the NIL Show. See you guys next time.
See you guys.
This was really cool. Thanks, guys.